Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. So this is a reading about an earth angel who took back control of their command center. When I'm talking about a command center, I'm talking about your crown chakra. Whether we know it or not, this is a battle. We are in a war. To live on earth means that you are living in war times. Now, the war that I'm talking about is an energetic war. This is a war where we have fallen into the dark world, but the mission of this dark world is at some point light will elevate it, light will expand it, light will ascend the societies, the communities, and the consciousness of earth. But in order for the ascension to happen, ascended beings must be sent here to lead the way. And so to be an earth angel, to be a light one, to be a divine being, is to be sent here to lead. Now, we've heard the number 144,000. 144,000 is a drop in the bucket, and that is not a lot. But when we are talking about divine energy, I want you to imagine that each one of you earth angels, light beings, and divine ones, each one of you is attached to a legion. Now, a legion is a military word. Now, during the Roman Empire, when you're talking about a legion, you could have been talking about anywhere between 3,000 to 6,000 foot soldiers, right? So although there's only 144,000 of us, what if each one of us is connected to a legion beyond the veil? And so imagine if there are 6,000 divine beings somewhere in this universe that chose you, that chose your body, that chose your life, that chose your spirit, your soul, your mind, your emotions, chose everything about you, planted you here on earth because they recognized that you were one of the greatest commanders that they could ever choose to participate in this divine war. This is an energetic war. This is a war on consciousness. This is a war on truth. Now, do you really think that you can exist in a dark world with all of that light and not be touched, not be tested, not be tried? And so in this reading, I see that for a period of time, we had a divine being, an angelic being, that almost would have appeared to the outside world that they were an introvert. But they weren't an introvert because they were quiet or reserved or introspective. They were an introvert because they were forced into isolation and they were suffering in silence. To suffer in silence, it's almost like having mental distress, but you just can't let go of it. You know it's not good for you. It causes you to worry. It makes you feel despair. You're feeling hopeless, but you just can't release it. Every thought is negative. Every belief is toxic. Suffering in silence, right? And the suffering is mental. The suffering is in your mind. If a divine being or a light one is suffering in silence, and if they're introverted, that also means that they're not alert. They're not ready to respond. They're not ready for war, and they're not prepared to take action. Angelic beings are sent here to serve. They serve health. They serve wellness. But most importantly, they come here to help the human improve, right? This is your purpose, is to elevate, to ascend, to grow. But if you have lost control of the battle inside of your vessel, well, are you really able to serve? And so one of the tactics that is used primarily against divine beings and earth angels on earth in order to make sure that they are unfit for this war is to attack, to control, and distort their command center. Now, what is the command center? Let's just talk about what a command center is in general. Command centers are sources of leadership and guidance, right? During times of war, they ensure that service and order is maintained, right? Command centers, from the command center, you can monitor the environment. You can react to events. Now, some events are going to be like a major crisis. Some events are going to be harmless. But to be stable and to be able to operate your own command center, it means that you're fit, you're ready, you're alert, you're vigilant. But how is a divine being ready and fit for war if they're suffering in silence, if they're in despair and they're hopeless and they're worried, and if they're quiet? Anybody ever? How do you lead a war? How are you a general? How are you a commander if you're quiet? If you're not speaking, if you're not directing, if you're not guiding. And so there are laws on earth, just naturally. There are principles and rules and regulations that must be obeyed on earth. One of the rules is the rule of inequality and underdevelopment, which means, now this connects to an adinkra semper, which is the pepper. Now, when the pepper comes out, this says that, listen, all peppers, even on the same tree, do not ripen simultaneously, which means that not everyone progresses at the same rate, and that those who are further ahead should assist those who are lagging behind. So divine beings and earth angels are seated here and sent here, right? And they're not alone because they have a legion attached to them. And that legion has trusted them to come and fulfill a mission. And the mission is a mission of inequality, is a mission of underdevelopment. It says, listen, you are being seated here because you possess something that is not dominant. It is not prominent yet on this planet. And so we are sending you here with certain gifts, certain traits, certain abilities, so that you can expand, so that you can essentially be like a trigger point, right? It's almost like you are a sickness, and we are hoping that you spread your sickness, but your sickness really isn't a sickness at all, right? It is a form of salvation. It's a form of grace. It's a way of saving. And so divine beings are supposed to come here in order to use their love, their generosity, their honesty, their thoughtfulness, and their integrity as a way to improve humanity, as a way to help those that are underdeveloped, right? Now, if you're suffering in silence and you're worried and you're hopeless and you're in despair, are you ever going to be able to complete your divine mission? Will you experience fulfillment? Will you get to a state of peace? Will you know what liberation is? Are you going to triumph? And so a divine being at some point has to recognize that the world is theirs to command, because they are connected to the cosmos. The cosmos sent you here to command some shit. How does a divine being command their battleground? How do they win the war? The crown chakra. So the crown chakra is the command center of your vessel, right? If your body is the battleground, where in your body are you able to win and control this war? Where in this body are you able to best defend and protect yourself? Where can you best see? Where can you receive your knowledge and your wisdom? This is the crown chakra. So the crown chakra of the divine being's vessel is their command center. To be the commander in chief, it means that you need to rule your mind. Your mind, your crown chakra, is your receiver of light. It is what links you to your legion. Your legion is in the universe. Your legion provides you with ethereal light. Your legion makes sure that you receive all the energy you need in order to successfully maintain yourself as you engage in this energetic war. Your crown chakra gives you that wisdom. Wisdom is endless. Wisdom doesn't expire. Wisdom is the tool that can take you through anything at any time. And so one of the tactics of war here against divine beings while on earth is to hack, disrupt, or distort their command centers. If you have been suffering in silence, distressed, dealing with limiting or negative beliefs, feeling hopeless, worry, or despair, that is a clear indication that your command center has been attacked. Now, how are command centers attacked on earth? I mean, people sometimes literally will bang you upside the head. But because you're a divine being with a special set of spiritual gifts, the methods of warfare used against you are a little different. So now I'm talking about spell work and black magic. You have come here to improve. You are required to improve humanity, right? But spell work and black magic consists of it is a set of formulas that have magical intent. And when these formulas are unleashed, the power is supernatural. And so in order to disrupt the command center of a divine being, black magic and spell work is used to supernaturally mess up your receiver. Can you imagine not being able to have messages, to no longer, you don't have guidance, you can't be led, you don't know how to serve, you've lost order, right? Mental distress is a clear sign that your command center has been attacked. And there's a certain type of response or reaction that is necessary to get back in control over your battleground. To not have control over your command center is essentially to not have control over your vessel. In comes the seventh circle. So the members of the seventh circle, which I often talk about, Dante's Inferno, the circles of hell. So the seventh circle are for the murderers, the thugs, the blasphemes, the sodomites, and those that choose violence. It is the seventh circle's job to use spell work and black magic in order to cause a natural disaster to the crown chakra of earth angels, divine beings, or light ones, those that have come here with divine destinies. There's no way that they are just going to let you be seated here, to be planted here, and to not have some type of challenge, or to not have some type of, the war is mental. The universe is mental. Everything happens in the mind. And the only way that divine beings can win this war is to maintain control of their mind, their consciousness, their awareness. And to be plagued with mental distress means that we are closer to losing our footing. We're closer to losing our position in this war. Now, here's the thing. When your command center gets attacked, you have a choice. Because in order for a divine being to recognize their divinity, your command center will have to be attacked. It will have to. Why? Because it is a trial and it is a test. The strength of your crown chakra must be tested. It will be tested. And you won't know the areas that you need to defend better. You won't know the ways in which the enemy has made itself into your protected space unless you get attacked. How else do you know your weaknesses unless you fall prey to them, unless you succumb to them? And so whenever your crown chakra is under attack, that is not an indication that you have lost the war. It is not an indication that your vessel has been taken over. No, it means that is a trial and that is a test. And so spell work and black magic, it likes to locate you, and it wants to put you in a position of being tested and tried endlessly. Because if you are always under a test, and if you are always tried, well, can you really accomplish your divine mission of self-improvement and serving? Are you really able to be alert and ready to respond and prepared to take action if your command center is always stressed and plagued? But at the same time, the only way to truly grow and mature is to overcome, is to stand and not run from the attacks that you will deal with in your crown chakra, right? Because listen, if you run from the location of your trial, if you run from that test, you hinder your growth. You stop your maturing process dead in its tracks. And so at some point, in order to positively move forward, you have to be able, while under attack, You have to be able to settle yourself. You have to be able to gain control, meaning you got to get them out. You got to find a button to secure or to release, meaning the war isn't over just because they've made their way into the command center. When they make their way into your command center and you're worried and you're distressed and you're hopeless, well, all of a sudden your receiver of light is no longer connected to your legion beyond the veil that's giving you direction and guidance and wisdom. But you are never left, right? And so when we have lost control of our command center, this is when our protection comes in. This is when the legion is like, all right, now we really got to show up until they get control again. All right, we're here. No problem. Like, you're not here alone. So 144,000 isn't a lot. But damn it, when each one of those is attached to a legion of 6,000 light beings or divine souls or spirit God, like, and so it makes sense. All of this makes sense. And so, divine beings, if you didn't know, you are one, but simultaneously you are legion. You have come here to serve. But in order to serve, you must self-improve. In order to self-improve, you got to be alert, ready, and prepared. When the attack comes, when the trial comes, when the test comes, the test will come to your crown chakra. The idea is to break your receiver so that you can no longer get the light you need. To break the link that connects you to the universe. To sever the cord that provides you with the ethereal light and the energy, right? And so the members of the 7 circles have one job. They have one job on this earth. And that is to cause a natural disaster, to cause great damage, possibly even loss of life to the crown chakra of divine beings and earth angels. And there are going to be periods of times in our life where we can literally look at ourselves and say, I was absolutely under attack, or I did experience natural disasters as a part of some type of spell work or black magic, something that had an ill intent, something that wanted to unleash a power on you, right? But when we run from those trials, when we run from those tests, when we don't fight, when we don't work to gain control over our command center after it's been threatened or weakened, well, then what kind of commander runs? Like, who wants to follow that chief of staff? Divine beings, I really don't think y'all know how to run. I don't think you could run if you wanted to. And that's the difference between the divine being, the light one, the earth angel, and probably the common man, is that there is something inside of you that can't walk away from a trial, that can't walk away from a test. Even those things that are dangerous or cautious or have caused us injuries, right? Every opportunity is a positive. Every time an accident happens to a divine being, you have to look at it as an opportunity to move forward positively, even if something negative happens. It doesn't mean that something positive can't come as a result of how you respond to it. So to go through accident after accident after accident, to experience danger, to live under this umbrella of caution, right? Or to have endured injury after injury. But somehow you didn't run from the trial, you didn't run from the test. And so the type of commander-in-chief that you become, that's that unfuckwithable divine energy. That is when you know who you are and you are unafraid. That's when you show up every day wishing and hoping that somebody attacks your command center. There's a switch inside of a divine being. There's like that early period where like, oh God, I hope I don't have to deal with spell work and black magic. And then there's that point where you're like, I wish a ninja would. Go ahead and send that shit to me and see what happens, right? Like, that is the switch. And that is the commander-in-chief that all divine beings are becoming. When you don't run from your trials, when you don't run from your growth, when you take that test on the chin, You mature, you develop, you become fierce, you become solid, you become unafraid. Like stress, there's no such thing as stress. Because you never allowed what would have been anxiety to overcome you or overwhelm you. Because you created a response, right? And so divine beings, wherever you are in understanding your identity, the value is in your crown chakra. The value is in your mental ability. To win this war, to come out on top, is to be able to control what happens in between your ears. That is what they are after. That is where all of your supernatural power lies. It is in between your ears. It is your receiver of light that connects you to the universe. That is your power. And so as long as divine beings are plugged in, they are lethal. They are connected. They are aware. They can see. They can sense. Every one of their fucking gifts is locked and loaded. And so the non-magical motherfucker members of the seventh circle, their goal is to create natural disasters. Because if they damage your control center, then imagine the entire whoever you were responsible for, right? When we talked about that peppers, right? Not everyone is at the same rate. So when the divine being comes here, you're not coming here necessarily for you. I mean, there's going to be a period of time where you are going to have to be in training for your own development. But all of that training is really about you being able to command, lead, and guide. Command, lead, and guide. That's what divine beings are here to do. But you got to go through the trenches. You got to go through the battles, and you can't run from them. Wherever the battle comes to you, that is where you fight it. That is how you fight it. That is where you face it. And so at some point, the members of the seventh circle start to realize that it was an accident for them to ever cause a natural disaster to the sweet souls or to the introverts. Y'all, this is how the battle switches. You go from running from the spell work to welcoming it, to just wishing that they would be dumb enough to do it. It is when you can wish for horrible things to happen that you honestly know how divine and magical you truly are. Because it is in the wishing that you are essentially saying, it's like in the same time that you are wanting someone to make an attempt on your life, not necessarily, okay, listen. When you can literally invite the enemy into your life, it is in that moment that the enemy recognizes that not only were you their mission, but you were only their mission until they became yours. Like there is a switch. What I'm saying is there is a switch. There's a switch inside of you when you take control over your command center in a way that you know every single door is secure. There's no way in. There's no way out. You know what I mean? There is something inside of you. At some point in time, you will recognize it. And I believe that we're all kind of in different spots along this path here. But what determines whether or not you get to that switch or not is how many times did you run from a test? How many times did you run from a trial? If you are always running from the hard things, then you will never be able to conquer the hard things. The hard things will always be hard, and they will never become easy. And so to be tested as a divine being, it is a given. It is expected. Because there is something supernaturally divine about you. And you were set here to challenge the inequality. You were set here to serve the underdeveloped. All that light you carry, all that light is supposed to provide wisdom, right? The same light that the universe provides you through the crown chakra, that is the light that you are supposed to disperse by way of your command center. But when our command center is trapped in darkness, we can't access the light for ourselves, and we can't even access the light to give it out. That is the test, and that is the trial. That is not an indication that the war is over or that the war has been lost. No. This has always been about the quality and the strength of your command center. Divine beings, it is by way of your crown chakra that you are slaying these demons. That's where your tools are. Imagine that that's where all of your weapons are, your arsenal. All of your weaponry is in your crown chakra. So it makes sense that that is the part that the seventh circle members want to attack. They're coming after your gut. They're coming after that, because that's what fucks them up. That's what they don't have. Right? And so if they can unplug you, if they can rip some cords out the wall, whatever they got to do to make sure that your wires are not wiring and that you're not receiving the energy or the messages or the visions, that is the point of it. And so to deal with crown chakra magic, to deal with spell work, to deal with black magic, that is the war. This is the nature of the war that we are in. That is the war. That's the war. That is the entire war, y'all. That is it. To cause a natural disaster to your command center so that you can no longer be a divine light source, so that you can no longer serve, so that you're not alert, you're not ready, and you're not prepared. All right, y'all. I love you. Listen. When your command center is under type of any stress or attack, or maybe there are signs that somebody has made their way in, signs of forced entry, it is, and of course I could just give you a whole list of things to do, but why? Be a commander. Be a commander and figure out how to control your command room. If you really want to win the war, then you'll work hard enough to figure out how do you protect yourself. Well, what do I do to make sure this doesn't happen, right? Like, this is what commanders do. Everything is not going to be fed to the commander. There are certain things that the commander just has to discover. They have to search. They have to research. But you got to be hungry enough to win this war. You have to be hungry enough to not lose. You have to be pissed off enough. Right? You got to get sick of the mental distress. You got to get tired of the isolation and be like, I'm coming the fuck out. I'm tired. Like, now I'm here. Now I'm here. Right? And so divine beings, if you know that that is you, and if you know that you are a member of the 144K, you are attached to a legion, and that legion is what supports you, loves you, guides you, and protects you. And to disconnect you from your source of power is the greatest threat, to the divine being. And so protect your crown chakra. Figure out how to maintain control of your leadership and your guidance and your service. How do I maintain order mentally? How do I monitor my mental environment to make sure that I'm always alert, ready, and prepared? All right, y'all. I love you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.